What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today we have a special guest. This guy, he does a little bit of everything. He's a coach. He's a host. He's been on TV. He is a huge advocate of health and fitness. Guys, you've probably seen him hosting Ninja Warrior, been on The Biggest Loser as a trainer. He's partnered with Gen Pep. He's also pushing the rights for children, the Children Rights Organization, Well-Lobe, Beating Diabetes Foundation, I Am Ready. This guy, I'm telling you, he's a great dude. Please help me welcome Marten Nylen. How's it going, brother?
Yeah, good introduction. That's an awesome one.
Woo!
Oh, he's a pro, man. He's a pro. I've been telling him for years that I just want him to follow me around and narrate my life. And every time I get introduced to someone, he does the intro for me.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. He just calls me. He goes, "Hey, Anthony, I'm going to call you. There's somebody you need to do an intro for me."
Yeah, like a little testimonial almost.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's business in itself.
Yeah, I mean they got that video recording thing Cameo now where people are people are spending $300 so that, Bruce Baumer from the UFC can break up with their girlfriend.
That's hilarious. So how you been, man? How's everything out there? How are things going for you? We always love to, kind of get your input of how you've been during these times of COVID, and what are some of the unique ways that you've been able to just keep yourself afloat, especially in the industry that you're in.
Yeah, I'm coping. I think it's all about being creative. It changes every time, and you never know what happens around the corner. So I think, of course, the COVID shit is really bad, but it's all about being creative. So I'm really busy now, and I think a lot of people are, but I'm busy in a good way. So I'm working a lot, and of course now it's more digitally. You can meet like this, you can work like that, but yeah, the show will go on.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. So I want to kind of dive into that. Like, what does the busy work look like for you now? Especially now we're in the digital space, we're online, versus to things the way we used to do them before. How does that busy work look for you now? And what are ways that you keep yourself organized? And what are some of the systems you have in place to make sure that you have everything operating at a high level?
Back in the days, I was more doing the PT work. So I've been doing the personal training for 18 years now. But today it's only a small part. So I used to say like 3%. So today I lecture a lot. So for me, normally I go around the world and I lecture about health and mindset. But now it's a different world because I can't travel, and the company is closing down. You work from home. So the transfer to do everything digitally, that is the thing I do now. So it's a lot of lectures, but I sit like this, or, in my studio or something. But I do a lot of stuff, with the lectures. I still lecture. Now today I've been recording like a lot of training sessions because we have a project in Sweden where I will do a training session every day in January to help people, because people are sitting too much. You work from home and you're by the computer. We need to help people get moving. Mm-hmm. And I know this is what you do also. So this is what we need to do to make people understand that it's not, some things you can't change that, but a lot of things you can change. You can do a lot of stuff, and we need to put the focus there and not just sit and wait for things to happen or to change it back to normal. Yeah, because it will be a new normal. And for us, I think we need to adapt. We need to adjust and keep going, because otherwise we will get stuck.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, right? Too many people are sitting down. Too many people are sedentary, and we had Peter Totten on the other day, and he is a creator of Snap Fitness. I don't know if you know Snap Fitness, the gym.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that exact adjustment period. Like, okay, maybe you're going to be inside more, but you need to adjust your diet. You need to adjust your recovery protocol, what you're stretching, how you're stretching it, what you're working out, when you're working out. And I think now people are starting to really get accustomed to that type of approach to training, right? Some indoor workouts, some outdoor workouts. Maybe if you're blessed to be in an area like we are down here in Miami. I don't know. I mean, I doubt that you're training outside up there in Sweden right now, but
the gyms is open here also.
Okay,
so
great.
government, they recommend people not going to the gym, but the gym is crowded. So I think it's more about you need to be smart, and if you're sick, stay at home.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the approach is, if you're feeling sick, you need to stay at home and social distancing. You need to think and be a little smart.
Well, I think that's where it comes down to. I think it's like, at some point you have to understand that this COVID virus it's always gonna be here, guys. It's gonna be like the flu. It's always gonna hang around. It's here, and I think it's just the most important thing is just, guys, just be smart. If you don't feel, it's like anything. It's like when you get the flu or when you're sick with something else. What do? You rest up. You stay home. You try to stay away from people so you don't get them sick. And if you're not, then do what you got to do, and then just be smart about being, sanitary, and just making sure you keep yourself clean. You're not doing things that, you shouldn't be doing, and play it safe, and I think that, definitely it really helps when it comes down to, allowing businesses and other places to stay open and people to still function and go through their daily lives, and still maintaining as well as a safe protocol for people not to be able to get sick.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and it's always things to do. Now I'm writing a new book. I've been released one, and also starting a podcast.
Congrats.
Oh,
So
that's great. What's the podcast going to be called, by the way?
It's called Get Up Off Your Ass.
I leave that. We'll talk about that later.
Awesome. You'll have to let us know when it launches, and we'll push it out for you, man. We'd love to do that.
Yeah. First it will be in Swedish, but I think my third season I will switch over, because I travel normally a lot, and I have a lot of internationally friends and co-workers. So I really think the world is so small, and you can find interesting people everywhere.
100%.
It's all about the knowledge. You can get the knowledge, and like I think you said before, Anthony, it's all about the learning. We learn something every day, and if we listen, we can learn. And if we don't listen, we will stay in the same spot. So we need to get moving and learn a lot of stuff. Life is short.
Yeah,
that is true.
Kind of staying along that theme, you mentioned that you're doing a lot of lecturing now. What types of lectures are you doing, and what demographic are you really reaching out to in order to put on these lectures?
I lecture to a lot of companies here in Sweden now, and it's the health is always a problem, because people, they are sitting too much, they are eating bad, they are having the wrong mindset. So, and I always believed in simplicity, to not do things harder than it actually is, and also creating health in easy ways. So I think people, they must understand it's not about, if you want to be healthy, you don't need to only eat salad and you need to work out a lot. It's all about the changes. If you change and you improve, then you get better. So a lot of people, they can create the lifestyle they want, but they don't need to sacrifice a lot of stuff. So today I lecture a lot to companies, and also to open lectures. So I travel around, and I'm so happy, because it's a lot of people that likes my lectures, of course.
It's amazing.
That's great.
So what would you say are the biggest pillars for you in your lectures? What are those big pillars that you really highlight and talk about when you're lecturing people, especially when it comes to health?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot about the mindset, because our mindset will give us the capacity and the thing to do stuff. I think many people, they are staying in a bubble. I call it the land of same, where you do this. And it's not Thailand. A lot of people, same, it's Thailand. The land of same is when you do stuff in the same way, like you always have done it, but you expect and you hope for another result. If you want something different, then you need to leave the land of same and do something different.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's all about our mindset. And I think also we need to challenge ourselves. If we don't challenge ourselves, we can't improve.
Yep,
and we
right.
need to sometimes be, get the guts to learn to know yourself a little better.
Yeah.
Instead of just watching a lot of other people, and you see, that guy, that girl. You need to start with yourself. Always start with yourself.
So let me ask you. Sorry about that. I was just gonna say, knowing and seeing all the people that you've worked with, because I'm sure you've worked with countless and countless of people with all these lectures, what would you say is the biggest thing that sticks out to you of why most people are hesitant for creating these changes to bring positivity and drive healthy results into their life? And why are they so scared to jump into the unknown what would you say is that component, that mindset component that you say is always missing in common with most people that you've seen over time?
I think people, they think the step is so far. They need to do so many things, so much to achieve something instead of starting with the first step. You know, if you're going to go somewhere, you're going to go from A to B, you know, you will always start with one step. And that step could be a small one. You don't need to take a big one, the big leap directly. Sometimes you just need to do the small things. And also the thing that I talk a lot about, you know, to be grateful. If you can put value on small stuff, small things that people just take for granted, you know, then you can create something bigger. And also the thing, you know, I've been traveling so much and I've been meeting so many people. So I'm so thankful for that. And I think that have helped me to put value to the small things. So the things around us, you know, you have food on the table, you have, you know, you have a house, maybe you have a job to go to, you know, small stuff. And sometimes it's just you can go outside and breathe some air. You can have some water. It's not about, you know, being the king or, you know, being world champion. It's more about you need to start with yourself and improve yourself. And if you learn to know yourself a little better, I think everybody can improve. Everybody can go from A to B. And you also need to ask yourself, what do you want? Because that is the first question. A lot of people, they just listen and they maybe social media say you will be like this, you will do like that. But we need to start and ask ourselves, you know, what do I like? And I do one thing every morning. I'm, you know, on my social media in Sweden, people, they really like it here. So every morning I think something positive. So I grab a thought, something that makes me happy, and I start to think of that. And then I do something good. You know, for me, most of the time is I go and work out because I'm an early bird. So I wake up maybe 5 o'clock in the morning, 364 days a year. The 365th or 366th, or maybe 5:15. You know, then I sleep a little more. But it's, you know, when I wake up, the Sweden is, you know, everybody's sleeping. So I can smile.
Yeah, you're speaking to the choir here, man. I mean, in Miami, no one goes to bed until 6 in the morning anyway. So us being up at 5, I'm not kidding you. Like I live on South Beach. I'll literally be walking my dogs at 5 in the morning, and I'll see people coming back from the club. Like,
yeah.
You know, and I'm like, fuck, I'm glad I'm not you right now.
Even though you've done it.
Oh, 100 times, 100,000 times. I won't come. If I go to the club, I'm not coming home.
No. What was it? You had that 7-day. What was it? How many days was it?
I went out with my friends like 6 days in a row.
6 days in a row. You're nuts.
I can't do that anymore though. I'm getting old. But you know, it's super interesting, and I don't know if you're like me, but you mentioned mindset really being the key. And you know, Anthony and I have been in the fitness industry for over 11 years individually, or respectively. And when I started out my career, I thought it was all about the workout. You know, I thought it was all about, I got to make these guys sweat. I got to make them feel like they just got their ass beat. You know, they have to feel like, you know, when they come back in the next day, they're going to be regretting that they even saw my face. And the older I get and the more I spend time in the field working with people, the more I really realize how important and how influential their thoughts really are on them. You know, and I'm glad that you brought up being grateful, thinking of positive things, and focusing on the small aspects of habit-based training, right? Or habit-based coaching. Because it really is so important that you do acknowledge that, you know, drinking one extra cup of water a day is a win for you. You know, having a salad is a win for you. And that and I'm glad that you brought up another point about, like, it doesn't have to be complicated. Right. No. It can be simple. Like and we brought this up on a couple podcasts ago, or I did. I have an online nutrition coaching client that I just started with, and he looked at the program and he's like, well, it's, you know, I feel like I'm ready I know a lot of this information, but I feel like I'm ready for something more intense. I go, well, why does it have to be intense? Like, why does being healthy with your nutrition have to be intense? Why can't it be simple?
Yeah.
Why can't it be just something simple, and the hard part be your consistency? You know, because doing, like you said, waking up at 5 in the morning, 364 days a year. I mean, I'm assuming that that's not easy for you to do.
Yeah, it is. For me, it's easy. You know, I'm adopted. In my papers, it says, you know, the child is really an early bird. He wakes up at 5. you will be in deep shit. So now I'm a little older, and I'm thinking, how the hell did they know that? But so it's crazy.
For most people, I mean, myself included, though, I have my days where I'm like, fuck, I don't want to get up. But I have to do it, right? Because I have shit I have to get done. So, why can't the difficult part be the consistency? Or, for people like you, why does it have to be difficult at all? Like, why can't it be easy to do simple things for extended period of time? Like, you accomplishing your goals, as you mentioned, right, does not have to be difficult. It can be easy. It's just about, moving through the right path.
Yeah. And I also think for people to put it in the lifestyle, because our lifestyle, we can create it. It's not something that we just, it falls down in our lap. We can create it. So we need to also to do, if we want good habits, we need to create them. Mm-hmm. And it's really funny, when I was younger, I went into, I call it my biggest storm. It's a period, I think we all went through it. But for me, it was 3 years when I was losing myself, and I was just, running around me with my friends and doing bad stuff. But before I went 18, I made a quote, and this quote is the quote of my life. It was George Bernard Shaw. He said, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. And this is the quote, that changed my life, because I was thinking before, the life is, you can't, what should you do? You keep going, and it will be as it is. But when I met the quote and the word create, I was thinking, okay, maybe I can change. Maybe I can do things different. Maybe I can turn around the bad stuff and create something good. So for me, to get the knowledge that I can create something good with my life, that is something I think we all can do. Mm-hmm. But we need to start look on ourselves instead of looking, on the other people. And we need to start where we're at.
100%.
Lifestyle, to create something good, we need to start to get the fundament. And the fundament is our health. Yeah. If we're not healthy, if you're, I talk about something I call table of balance here in Sweden. When I lecture, this is something where I lecture a lot about. And the table of balance is, if you have a table, you have 4 legs. If you put the table just in front of you, the table will stand. If you take away 1 leg, the table will probably still be standing if you're not pushing where the leg is off, right? But if you take away 2 legs, the table will fall. And I say it's the same with us people, we are the table. So the 4 legs is 4 fundamentals. So we have the exercise, we have the nutrition, we have the rest and recovery, the sleep and recovery, and we have the stress. So now, of course, I can put the social thing also here, but now I don't do it. So, and what I want people to do is to start with the table of balance, and they watch the factors, the 4 legs, and they try to locate the weakest leg at the moment. And if you see, my weakest leg is the nutrition now, or my weakest leg is I don't sleep so much, or it's maybe I'm so stressed. If you locate the weakest leg, then you know where to start. Because this is our fundament. Our health is our fundament. So we need to sometimes it's not just, I'm going to start exercise, I'm going to eat good, and I will get the good results. And, I'm not sleeping and I'm stressed like, then we don't get the results. So what we need to do is to see the holistic part that like we are working with. The mindset. Okay, how do I do it? You don't need to go up and, go to the gym 5 a.m. in the morning. If you're not like that, then you should go later, but you should do it. So when it suits you. So the thing is, if you want something, you need to add the doing, because we can stay here now. I wish, or I hope for, I really would love that. But if you don't do, where's the result?
That's exactly right.
That we need to do the keep it simple. I really think people, they are doing things much harder than it actually is.
100%.
Yeah. You're the second person this week that's brought up that table analogy to us. So I think I need to steal it. I've been stealing a lot of quotes from people from the podcast. So it's been great for me.
I'll tell you one thing, man, I really love from the table analogy, and it stuck out, is just you're really identifying what is that root issue first that person's dealing with, and let's tackle that. because
big
that's your
rock.
weakest link. So I think that right there is a huge game changer, you know. And then something else that I want to mention, you saying doing the stuff, like actually doing the work. Like you hear the word motivation get thrown out all the time. And motivation, cool, it's cool to a certain extent, it's great to a certain extent, but motivation without action doesn't do anything. So what do you do? Because obviously in these lectures, people get crazy. They get excited. Rah, 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 rah. Oh my God, I'm going to do this and this and this. But how do you actually get these people to use that rah, rah energy of motivation and actually start putting the action the moment they leave that lecture or the moment they leave that place with you? Because at the end of the day, that's where the result's going to happen. So what are some of the tools or some of the things in place that you tell them, now it's time to convert this motivational energy and put it into action?
I think, first of all, they need to look at themselves. Like I said many times, you need to do, if the table of balance can help you to locate the weakest link, then it's a good start. If you start with a fundament, then you will have better capacity and better odds. If you don't look at this and you start and you're so motivated and the body or the mind will not follow, you will be, this is disappointed. So I think you need a good game plan. And I think, I've been working 18 years now, like a personal trainer. I've been working with athletes. I've been working with artists. I've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs. So it's, people that needs the extra to when they deliver. So for me, it's all about I would like to say, is to see the details, but you need to put the focus on the details that matters. You can, if you focus on 10 things and maybe 2 of them will do the difference, maybe you don't need to do the other one. So because, we have only 24 hours a day and maybe we sleep for 10 or 8 hours of those. So we need to make sure that we use our time right.
Yeah.
And also when we start, 100%. If we do a good game plan, a good action plan, and then we put a time limit on it, it will help us. But also, you need to know what to do. So if you start with yourself and you see where you're at, then it's easier to see what's my next step. Mm-hmm. Because if I was training like 20 years ago and I was really a badass in the gym, and then I come back to the gym and my mind is still there and I'm, this was not good. You will be disappointed and you will quit. Yeah. So it's important to celebrate, every victory you have. And every small step. If I have my main goal here, I need to go with the sub goals. And if I have a sub goal, that's a victory. And the next sub goal will be a new victory. And that can keep us motivated. But we need to have the game plan. Yeah. So we need to know, what should I do now? What is my first step?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've ever heard the analogy, but there's a thing here in the U.S. where they talk. It's like a kind of a generalized story where they talk about this professor who has like a jar and he puts the golf balls in the jar, right? And then he fills it up with rocks, and then he fills up the remaining space with sand, and then he pours coffee into it, right? To kind of show. And the golf balls are like the big things that you were talking about, right? Like what are the things that are going to make the biggest difference right now? And then the pebbles that he adds in after are like the things with your with your job that you could do, or with your exercise, like maybe the more like what type of thing instead of how or why. And then you have the sand, which is like the granule stuff that really doesn't matter. That is just kind of like the frosting on the cake. And I think too many people, right, to your point, focus on the granule level, right? What supplement should I be taking, right? Yeah. What workout equipment should I be using? What time should I be going to the gym? It's like, no, you're missing the whole point. Go move around, set that time limit. Okay, I'm going to work out for 45 minutes, 4 days a week. Okay, great. And then go and do it. And then as you start to master those habits or start to really knock down those big rocks, then you can start moving to the pebbles, right? Like, how do I really fix my relationship with, my family, with my friends, with my job? And then from there you can go to like, okay, now I can start taking supplements. Now I can start, really focusing on like dialing in my nutrition timing. I can focus on, what my recovery process really looks like and how that's affecting me. But until you actually start taking like the smaller actions, which really have a big effect, like actually going to the gym, making sure that you're intentional with what you're putting in your mouth, getting enough sleep, making sure that those relationships are healthy. None of that other stuff matters.
Yep. If you can really start with that lowest hanging fruit and work your way up from there. Because I think a lot of times people dabble, I used to be, even with myself, dabbled way too many things. And I think a lot of people too, when they start getting themselves in the space, they want to create some change, they hear this from this person. Nowadays you can get access to so much resources, which is great, if you're getting it from the right places, but also then you're over consuming and you're not doing. And it's just like
paralysis by analysis.
Exactly. Right? And I like to call it in my stuff when I do infobesity. You're trying to take too much information in, and a lot of people are like, no, but I gotta have that. I can't do this if I don't have this and this and this and this and this. And then it's like, guys, but you're not even getting started. You're trying to collect all this. You haven't even started. You could have just started with your lowest hanging fruit, which is start going for a walk outside. Start, taking an extra water bottle in, go do this. Just move your body. Like Josh said, start with that. And then as you start progressing and you can get one thing at a time, now you can start aiming for the higher hanging fruit, aim for these different goals that you have, as you keep climbing that tree or that ladder and starting to knock off those little points. But I think a lot of people, they see other people doing things, or they see brands and advertisements. It's like, you can't do this without this. And then they feel overconsumed. Well, where do I start with now? Oh my God, I have this, but I don't even know where to start. And it's like you said, having that game plan, starting with your lowest hanging fruit. And I think that's going to be the biggest way to create change for the beginning. And honestly, it's the little things, little by little, that add up and then create this beautiful result at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if you want to build a big building, you need to get the fundament right. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it will probably fall. And also I think it's a lot about the small wins, because it's good. You're motivated. You're starting up. The engines is running, and then it's getting hard. Week 2, week 3, week 4, somewhere after a while. If you keep the winning all the time, then you will keep the motivation there. So it's a lot of things. Our mindset, I think that is something that we really need to work with, instead of, which exercise should I do now? It's more about, do it.
Yes.
I love it. It's awesome. We're speaking the same language.
It's like you see it all the time in every New Year. Every New Year. Yeah. New Year's resolution.
I'm going to go ham.
I'm going to do it. And then, bro, I laugh because last year in the gym and where I live in my apartment, I remember when I was still training, actually, yes, like a year and a half ago, I was still training somebody. My 1 or 2 clients left. And I remember I would crack up. We were training at like 6 a.m. And this one couple would come. And they started, I remember it was like January 2nd. They were going at it, being consistent. And every time I would train my client, I was training them like 3-4 times a week. So we would see them always. Yeah. And I laughed because 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in, the husband stopped coming often. So he would come every other day now. Next you know it, he started going only twice a day. And I started with my client. I'm like, do you see that? Look. And then I remember in a month, February kicks in. Now it's only the wife doing it by herself. And the husband wasn't even going anymore. And then eventually I saw the wife started doing the same thing the husband was doing every other day. And eventually I didn't even see them anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because people they'll have the motivation to do it for a short period of time, but then they don't have the drive to keep going. And I think that's part of also why a lot of people, give up or fail. So what are some of the things that you do and you teach your people for people that are in that position now, especially moving into the new year, because we're going to get it, who are excited, want to create change, especially during a time like this. People really want change. What are some of the things you use to make sure that you still have that fire, that spark, to not give up, to keep pushing through the trenches and make sure that you reach your goals?
That's why in Sweden, I've been recording these 31 training sessions now. So every day in January, they will do a training session.
Amazing.
So that was more like a joke. But I really think people, you need to start with to find out what do you want. People, we are different. So every person is different. And if some people want a result like this, then maybe someone other would like another result. So I really think we need to start looking at what do we want? Not what the world wants. What do I want? And if I start with that, it's also easier to do the game plan or the action plan more suitable for the client, for the person.
Yeah.
So it's, you have a lot of, you can go from A to B in a lot of directions. Probably you find the B somewhere. But I really think some people, they forget about what do I want? They start to train because it's 1st of January. Now I'm going to the gym. Now I'm going to start my new life. We heard it before. So, but people, they don't have a why. Why will I do this? A purpose with what I do. So I really also think people, we're sometimes, we forget about the first thing, to ask ourselves, what do I want?
Yeah.
And then it's easier, because when it's getting harder, when it's February coming, March is coming, if you know why, then probably you will be motivated still in March.
Yeah. And it is so important, right, to really define what you want and not have that external influence from, social media, your friends, your family. And I always use us as a prime example, because, as people, we couldn't be any more different.
No.
He's one of my best friends, but him and I, even with what we want with our businesses and what we want with our families, like it's completely different. So if I try to judge myself based on what he's doing and his goals, right, I'm going to end up like a failure, because, he's trying to like accelerate this. And I'm more of that, like, okay, well, I don't necessarily, like, I like some nice things, but I don't necessarily need all of the things that maybe he wants, and vice versa. Like I'm really big into, like, fashion. He doesn't give a shit about that. So it's like, if he tried to base it off of like, oh, well, I don't have the clothes that Josh has, then, he's going to feel bad. And if I'm like, well, I'm spending too much money on clothes, even though it's something that I really enjoy, it's like one of my hobbies to kind of get into that, he is going to, he's going to look at me and go, oh, well, or I'm going to look at him and be like, well, why am I wasting all this money? Even though it's something that I really enjoy. Right. And it's something that brings joy and value to what I believe in and what I want, so it is super important to really decide, like, okay, at the end of the day, when I'm on my deathbed and I look back at my life, what are those things that I'm going to really remember? And what are those things that are really going to bring that happiness on the last day that I'm going to be on this earth?
Yeah, and we sometimes we need to leave stuff behind, and we need to go on, and maybe we carry on some good stuff, of course, but it's all about putting value to stuff. We are different. So, and sometimes you need to put the work in to be able to do stuff like what you like. So,
yeah, 100%.
So there are different angles, I think, of why doing things. If you work to get healthy, or you work to keep yourself healthy, maybe that's because you have stuff you want to do and you can't do it if you're not healthy enough. So we need to put more value in the things we like, that we appreciate, that we want to do. And like you're saying, life is short. We never know how much time we get, but we need to do the best of it. And also, I don't know, if you get a new life after this, nobody knows, I think. But what we need to do is to use the time here. I always talk about time, because, time is the only thing we have in the end. And if we don't use it right, if we don't value it right, then probably, we will be like, oh, I should have tried that. I should have done that. So what we need to do is to stop up. Yep. Sometimes we need to just stop and think, okay, how can you use my time better? Maybe I should change direction. The land of same, maybe I should take the step to do that, because maybe that is not taking me to the goal, but that will get me the fundament so I can go to the goal. It's like a ladder, if you have steps on a ladder, you can have every step, but if you only have the steps and they are too far away, you can't climb.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so true. And, I kind of want to dive into, because I know that you were a coach on Biggest Loser. And when you talk about people who really need to make that change in their life, like make substantial change, it's these people that go on the, shows like The Biggest Loser who are, 350, 450 pounds. And I want to, it was one of my favorite shows here in America when I was a teenager, when it first started. I love seeing those types of transformations, right? Like people really take ownership and more the coach-client relationship during those processes, right? It's really cool to see. How was your experience on that show, and what were some of the lessons that you learned throughout that whole process?
Oh, I learned a lot, the Biggest Loser show. It's a TV show, so, it's also a contest. But right. For me, it was not about the contest. It was about the people, the human being. If I work with someone, I work with someone. And the thing is, I was in the Swedish show the first season till the fourth. So I was in 4 seasons as the head trainer. And it's, I met a lot of amazing people. But the thing is, most of the people that is so big, it's traumas. You need to work with this again. So it's not about, losing weight is easy. Every season I said, okay, 50%, I can do it. No problem. You can bring it in the contract if you like, because that is the easy part. Yeah. And if you check it up, I think I will probably have some of the bigger results in the world still. Wow. But the thing is, for me, it's more about how do you change the mindset? How do you change how you see yourself, how you value yourself? But because there is the biggest thing you need to do. You need to always change how you value yourself, how you see yourself. And with the Biggest Loser show, I learned a lot. I met people that were saying all the time, I can't do that. This is impossible. I have tattooed on my back, impossible means nothing to me. And, this is what I erase impossible. But the thing is, I think I learned a lot about people, the mind, because, if you say it's impossible, it will probably be so.
Yep.
But if you change that and you say, maybe this is possible, the world will change. So the thing, how we see things, how we say things, how we express ourselves, that will probably say how the result will be. Mm-hmm. So in Sweden, everybody knows me here for the results, of course. But the thing for me, it's more about this one. Yep. How do I change how a person values themselves?
What were some of the biggest changes that you saw in people? Like, what were some of those weight loss totals like?
I have one of my the winner of the last season, Christos. He was losing 79 kilos and I think 51%. Yeah. Wow. But this is easy stuff for me, But the thing is, the biggest thing was, he was always doing bad stuff to other people, but also to himself. When we changed that, he started to be kind to himself. The world changed. So I've seen so many things from The Biggest Loser. I'm so happy and so grateful for being in the show. And when I left it for another TV show, the Ninja Warrior show, where I was hosting.
Another killer show. Yes.
Yeah. That is also, I think, the movement again.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I would have loved to go back there maybe for one season or something, because it's an amazing thing. But it's about the people. It's about the people, the journeys. Life journeys. If you stay on the same place, maybe you will not see so many things. But with The Biggest Loser show, the people that really goes into the show and they say they change, it's impossible, to maybe I can do this. That is a journey. So the thing, every human being that is telling themselves, I can't do it, this is impossible. No, I think this is the biggest thing for people to change. They need to start to think different. How can I change to take away the impossible, to make it possible? And we can make things possible. So, and sometimes, of course, we need some help. That's why we're here. But, it's like maybe you hurt your knee, you need to go to the doctor, of course, because Google is not the best option, maybe. But
no, I'll just tell you have cancer.
Yeah. So what we need to do, I really love The Biggest Loser show because I learned a lot. Mm. But now today, I've moved on. So for me, I think life is too short. I need to do a lot of fun stuff. Well, that's why I love speaking with you. You are in my yeah. Next time probably we meet up.
Yes, that'd be great.
We'll make that happen for sure.
Hell yeah.
In here.
Yeah. But I really think it's the human mind is so complex, but at the same time, again, keep it simple, because we can change a lot of things when we change up here.
Simplicity is the key. You see, even when it comes to work, even brands, the most successful brands have some of the most simple designs to them. And I think that it's so true, because at the end of the day, people want simple. They don't want complicated. They want simple to understand, simple to apply, simple to do. Yeah. And there's another thing you mentioned, a lot of people saying it's hard, it's impossible. Things are only impossible hard because you haven't done them enough times. Exactly. And when you do the practice and you get in the reps, it becomes easy. So hard becomes less hard, becomes easy, becomes easier. Okay, this is really easy. and it just becomes reactive. And now it becomes something you just instantly react to, and you know how to react to it because you've done it so many countless of times. And this goes with anything in life that you do. And I think that it's just like, if people also allow themselves to, put themselves in the uncomfortable space of, heck, it may be hard now, but if I do this X amount of times, it's going to get easier along the way. Well, I know that by doing that and going through this short-term sacrifice, my mindset's going to change, my body's going to change, the way I act is going to change, my relationships are going to change around me because of how I'm changing, my friendships. And I think if more people put that mindset in place and understood that, you'll see a lot more wins coming along the way. And I think definitely starting, like you said, keeping it simple, putting yourself through these uncomfortable positions, even though you might say it's hard, go through it, challenge yourself. Put yourself in it. It's the only way to be able to see what's on the other side, because most of the time people are scared to enter the unknown, and the unknown is the unknown, regardless if you might not get what you wanted or if you do get what you wanted, but it's the unknown. You don't know. So you're going to live your life in regret not doing something because you didn't want to enter the unknown. No, fuck no. Like, I want to enter the unknown because I want to see what's on the other side, and I want to keep pushing through so I can get the result I'm looking for. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But you know what? I tried, I attempted, I gave it my best. And I think that's the key thing about all that. Now, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, and I always say, never let fear stop your success.
Boom.
It's important, because a lot of people, they put fear as the thing. Oh, this is why. Instead of, okay, fear. What is fear? Maybe you don't know that. You're scared of something because you don't know it. So if you maybe learn something, or you just go and try it, maybe you like it, then we can win every day in life.
That's right.
I think every people can win a lot of, instead of just looking at the main goal. I have a friend of mine, I will actually interview him tomorrow in my new podcast. And he wrote this song. He's a famous Swedish rapper, Petter. And he say, you need to have more fun on the road. And if you say the life is the journey, are you looking on the goal or should you have more fun on the way? It's really nice. And we also need to have more wins on the way. When we win, we stay motivated. And I think also it's get easier for us. I have something I call the 10-1. If you have 10 positive things around you and you have one bad thing that happens, most people, they will look at this bad thing and they will say, oh, this is really bad. Yep. I think, many people, they are not locating the good things. And if you locate 10 good things, it will get easier when you face this bad thing. But also, if you locate one good thing every day, how many things will you have in 1 year? And also, if you have something positive, you have positive things around you, because positive energy will create more positive energy. And in Sweden, I talk about smiles, because when you smile, smile is better than COVID, it's better to spread the smiles, because then you can get the feeling inside when you feel happy, you feel comfortable, you feel just good. And I think also we need to, create the wins, not just wait for the wins to come there. We need to have more fun on the road.
Well, I will definitely agree with all that. You definitely hit the nail on the head. And I really love that you brought up the 10 positives versus the 1 negative. You see that especially all the time, with sports, with all this stuff. That one player can have done all these amazing things, championships, this. He does that one big mess up that destroys a game, destroys a big opportunity. And that's what most people remember him for. Oh, remember that time that he blew out that game? Remember that? And then it's just like, wait, but I won all these championships. I scored this minute. I did this for this team, but that's what they remember. And it's so true. Most people remember that. Now, Marten, I want to say, because I know we're wrapping up now in an hour, I want to really just give you a special thanks for really coming on here, dropping these amazing golden nuggets on us and on everybody. And personally, both Josh and I really are happy to have had you on here, and we're looking forward to have you here in Miami. But before we wrap things up, I know I have a few questions to really hit you with. I know Josh may want to say something, but I want to give you the floor to just be able to share, where people can find you, and do you have any big projects coming up?
Oh, that would have taken maybe 1 more hour to but people can find on social media. I'm at Marten Nylen, and also have my webpage, of course, but that is in Swedish now, martennylen.com. But I think the world is a playground, so people will find me. I'm like the ninja. In Sweden, they call me the smile ninja. Yeah. So maybe I will find them.
There we go.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I just want to take the opportunity again, like Anthony, to say thank you for coming on. We really hit it off with you. I think birds of a feather fly together, right? So the more top quality coaches we can get talking about these super important yet potentially simple actions that people can take in their lives to succeed. We need to be having these types of conversations because so many people can take value from just simplifying things and removing a lot of that unnecessary stress that has been so, overtly pushed on people when it comes to their health, right? It doesn't have to be hard. And I'm so glad that, there are coaches like you around the world, right? In particular, Sweden, in your case, right? That are sharing that message with people, because it is really so important. And I think the more we talk about it, the more people are going to really be able to understand it. So thank you, Marten, for coming on and sharing your story with everyone.
Thank you for having me. It's really fun speaking with you guys. And I also think we could, if we were talking, about advanced training and like that, it's not interesting, because one step at a time, and people need to understand we need to start where we're at the moment.
Right.
Not looking like 10 years ahead, and then I'm going to be like a beast or something. People need to work on the fundament. And I also think if you want to be successful, in any way, you need to start with the first step. And that is, I think I've been working with a lot of stuff. Before I was a stuntman for 5 years. I worked in the security business for 11 years. Now I've been a personal trainer for 18 years. And now, I'm a health entrepreneur in some way. So I think people, they need to believe more in themselves to stop, getting stopped by the fear or something, what other people think. We need to just, go out there. It's your life. Yeah. Give it a try. Or maybe two.
So Marten, with all the amazing value and golden nuggets you've given us, right now, what's the biggest piece of advice you can leave off to all our listeners today in one sentence?
In one sentence, wow, that's a hard one. I should say, I really think that the table of balance is something that is really good. But in one sentence, now it's going to be a very long sentence, so I'm going to talk a little faster. I would say this quote, the George Bernard Shaw quote is really good. Life is about finding yourself. Don't look for yourself. Life is about creating yourself. You need to go out there and create something good, because no one else would do it for you. You need to do it yourself. But you can get help on the way, but it's up to you. And we don't need to expect things to be miracles and like that. Start appreciate the small things, and I think you will get a good life.
Love that. You guys heard it from Marten himself. Go create.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
It.
Until next time, everybody.